Welcome to part 3 of the Rule of Law Institute's video series on accessing judgment summaries on the High Court of Australia's website. In parts 1 and 2, we looked at how to find judgment summaries, a reading strategy, and how to understand case citations. In this video, we will explain how the case we have looked at came to be in the High Court, how the court came to its decision, and the effect of the court's decision. Before we get into how the case we've been looking at ended up in the High Court, we need to look a little bit at the role and function of the High Court. It's an important function of the High Court to hear challenges against laws which may be inconsistent with the Australian Constitution. If the court finds that a law is inconsistent with the Constitution, it gets declared invalid, which means it's no longer a law in Australia. If the court finds that a law is consistent with the Australian Constitution, it's declared valid and remains law. You'll remember from the second video that there were two appellants, Monis and Drudas. Monis and Drudas were appealing a criminal offence and were making the argument that that criminal offence was inconsistent with the Australian Constitution. The High Court in previous cases had found an implied freedom of political communication. Monis and Drudas argued that that criminal offence infringed on their right to that freedom of political communication. This case did not go directly to the High Court. It started in the District Court of New South Wales, where Monis and Drudas were originally charged with the criminal offence. They first appealed against the offence in the District Court. Their appeal was dismissed. They went to the higher court in New South Wales to appeal this decision, the New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeal, which also dismissed their case. Monis and Drudas then applied for special leave to appeal to the High Court. 3 justices heard the special leave application and decided that it should go further to a full hearing. High Court cases can involve up to 7 justices hearing one case. A hearing is held where the justices listen to oral submissions from the parties' lawyers and read over written submissions prepared in advance. When the hearing is complete, the justices deliberate on the case and write judgments. Justices can write their own individual judgments, or they can join with one or more other justices and write a joint judgment. If you look at a full judgment and the full reasons for a High Court case, it's important that you take note of which justice's judgment that you are reading. Only 6 justices heard Monis and Drudas' case. This is likely because Justice Gummow was about to retire and Justice Gageler was yet to be sworn in. Justices of the High Court have a mandatory retirement age of 70 years. Chief Justice French and Justices Hayne and Hayden delivered individual judgments in this case. They all agreed that the law was invalid and that it was not consistent with the freedom of political communication found in the Constitution. Justices Bell, Kiefel and Crennan wrote a joint judgment together and found that the law was valid and that it was consistent with the freedom of political communication in the Constitution. When the High Court is equally divided in opinion, the law states that the decision of the lower court stands. In this case, that means the decision to dismiss Monis and Drudas' appeal in the New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeal was the final decision of the High Court of Australia. Now, go back and read the judgment summary yourself and put together your own summary of the case. You can use the notes provided on the Rule of Law Institute's website to help you do this. You also might like to check out media articles on the websites of major newspapers about this case. Thanks for watching our video series. Remember that you can get back to videos 1 or 2 by clicking on the buttons that are on screen at the moment. Drop us a question on our Facebook page or in the comments box below.